All right, welcome. What's up? You are listening to Jessica Lauren Kelley, Voice of Reason podcast. And today I am here to this episode might be a little different today. Hang on, I'm checking the frequency. Oh yeah, this is the one I like. Okay. You all give me some feedback because episode 3 I used this frequency and then I listened to the playback and I just loved how clear and good it sound. So if you all could give me some feedback, this is frequency 3, okay? And I really like it. So do you all like it? Do you notice a difference? Let me know, because a part of this is that I'm practicing, so your feedback means everything to me. And hang on, I'm going to get some water, of course, because I want to get into this episode. It's a little different. Today, I think I'm going to do a bit of personal storytelling just because I'm feeling really grateful, really reflective, and I'm ready to open up and talk about why voice acting and why getting my voice, specifically in animation, is so important to me. And I've expressed this before that voice acting is truly my passion, but I never really went into depth about it. So I'm ready to get into depth about it, and a part of, you'll understand me a little better if you know my background and why I do this shit every day, to be quite honest, and why I put this podcast out every week and what I'm doing, because it's bigger than me, okay? So I mentioned in episode 1, episode 2, that I'm black, black, yo, and I'm from the east side of Detroit. And I say that because it means something to me. It's a part of who I am. It is who I am. And I'm not here to get on this microphone to spread this stereotype that Detroit is a rough city, because there are parts in Detroit that aren't rough. But where I'm from, the east side, like my street, was rough and didn't have the best surroundings, like my outer environment, meaning my neighborhood, surrounding neighborhood, and everything like that wasn't positive. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say that does impact your development growing up. You know what I'm saying? If this is your constant surroundings, it does impact you. So not only that, my home, my physical home, inside my home, wasn't the greatest environment either. So I grew up with a lot of negative feedback in my life, that was my positive. And so that does impact you. And what I'm saying is that I'm healed now, I didn't go into therapy and I didn't work through my trauma, but it did cause the trauma, if that makes sense. And it was cartoons that saved my fucking life. Okay? And you know that saying where they say children are resilient? That is facts. Children are very resilient, given they have something that they can attach to that kind of lets them be like, it's their one happy throughout the chaos, throughout the trauma. And it was cartoons that saved my life. And that is why I'm here in the room right now. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that I got a very late start. I don't give a damn, because I'm in the room now and I come here with a purpose. I come here with a vengeance. This is not just me wanting I want the fame and I want the money. Don't get me wrong, that's cool. But I'm here to make the connection, because as I said, having such a negative environment does impact you. And it was cartoons, Rugrats, specifically. Like, I am wearing Rugrat pajama pants as I speak to you. I'll post a picture. But yeah, I'm wearing Rugrat sweatpants as I speak to you because it was that deep to me. And everyone that knows me knows that I watched Rugrats well into my teens. I started watching at 6 and I watched them grow up. You know, they had so many experiences. And I mean, they went to Paris. They got lost in the jungle. Tommy got lost in the post office. There was so much imagination and exploration. And honestly, it was Rugrats Go to Paris that got me interested in world travel. Because like I said, I lived on the east side of Detroit, and that's just not our reality. That just wasn't my reality. Like I told you, I mentioned in the first one that our life was survival most of the time, majority of the time. And my mom was very hard. She grew up in the struggle herself. So it passed on to us in a lot of ways. And her mindset was we didn't get to have dreams. I mentioned that at 7 years old, I figured out that it was people behind the cartoons that did the voices. And I said, oh, that's what I want to do. And I told her, and she told me to get a real dream. I was 6. So you have to understand that does impact you. So my world outside was very negative, very hard. And my escape was cartoons. And it was there that I discovered things that I wouldn't have discovered in my home environment, if this makes sense. As Told by Ginger was one of my favorite cartoons, and Ginger wrote poetry. And I really got into poetry watching that show. And it was crazy. Like then in middle school, I really got into poetry, but it was because I was watching As Told by Ginger, you know, like it sparked an interest. And so I know that adults, sometimes we talk a lot of shit about cartoons. We don't think of them as educational, or they're so silly. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. Don't get me wrong, cartoons can be silly, but to be honest, developmentally, kids need the silly. It's good for their development, honestly. And that is deeper than just animation and passing time. You know, I mean, if that's how you choose to look at it, sure. But I'm here to tell you that for me, I was learning shit. I was being exposed to shit that wasn't in my day-to-day reality environment. You know what I'm saying? Like, where I'm from, we don't do poetry. People don't go to school. People drop out at the earliest age they can. You know what I'm saying? So I was actually being exposed to things. So for me, my connection to cartoons and animation is real because it saved my life and it opened up opportunities. So yes, absolutely. I am here and I am in the game and I'm coming for it because I know that there are still children where I'm from and TV is all they have. I've been in that environment. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. And my goal is to connect with those kids and let them, expose them to things that they may not be exposed to in their day-to-day, like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my passion is real and it comes from my soul because my childhood was very difficult, very rough, very negative. And I know what got me through that was cartoons. Even when I'm older, like now, I'm 27 right now, and I still will watch a cartoon just because I'm used to it. But I like to see like what children are being exposed to. Like, am I still being exposed to new stuff like when I was little? I mean, now as an adult, I'm more familiar with the content and I can recognize it. And that's what gets me excited, because I said, oh, I like this cartoon because I like that they're showing diversity and they're talking about this, because that is what exposure is. And it wasn't until I got to college where I got the exposure of my life. I grew up, again, in one type of environment. And getting to college was a process because of my environment. I made it, but when I got to college, this was my first time being introduced to different cultures, different lifestyles, different perspectives. And my mind was blown. Like, this is the world, And it was in that moment where I realized, like, there is a whole world outside of Detroit, Michigan. Different cultures. Like, I had never really been outside the city. Yeah, we traveled to other states, family reunion here and there, but I'm talking on a deeper level. All I knew was one thing. So, yeah, I got ideas and, I got introduced to topics and stuff through cartoons. And I'm so glad that I did, because that was exposure, So I'm all about creating and making connections for kids who are in these very harsh realities. And that's just the facts. Like, I come from harsh realities. So here I am now on the other end of it. I'm blessed. I'm out of it. I'm not that way. I've gotten my therapy and I'm dealing with the byproducts of having traumatic childhoods. Don't get me wrong, it still impacts me, but I'm on a way, way, way better, healthier, positive side of it. Remember, I told you, I think in episode 1, I said that there used to be a point in my life where it was 80% bad with 20% positive experiences. Now I'm in a place of life where it's 80% good with like less than 20% negative experiences. I've learned how to deal with life and the ebb and flow. And I'm going to take a sip of water. Hang on. I'm doing some talking, like some real soul talking. I hope y'all feeling me. All right. But now I'm on a side where it's 80% positive with less than 20% negative, and I'm dealing with it and I can handle life and I'm in the driver's seat and I've removed a lot of things that impacted me, and I realized I'm in control of my life. And so I have to cut out things, like I have a say so. It took a long time for me to get to this point, and I'm here now. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not wasting no more time. I spent the last 10 years of my life, or, more than that. I spent so much time in my life being told what I couldn't do, what I'm not good enough to do, what my level of skill allows me to do. I'm done with that. And I'm in a free space where I can really follow my passion, and voice acting is this passion because it saved my life. Again, no one will ever know that it was cartoons that got me through the darkest of days. And Nickelodeon saved my life. Shout out to Nickelodeon. I grew up watching them for my entire childhood. And thank you for introducing me to Cree Summer, who is my absolute idol. Like, I know you shouldn't have idols, but that woman does just open me up. And it was an episode of Rugrats where they were doing the behind the scenes, and this is the moment that I realized that it was people, like real people talking for the cartoons. Now, I was 6, so, like my mind was blown. And it was the behind the scenes, and there is Cree, doing the voice of Susie Carmichael, which is a character that I love because she was brown like me. And they show the name, and I'm saying Cree Summer. I could read a little bit at that time, so I'm like, her. And she was brown. And I was so amazed. And I remember being like jumping up and down. I was in the basement, standing in front of the TV with that blue DirecTV satellite remote. I was jumping so much that I dropped the remote and the batteries flew out under the couch and I couldn't find them. But I was so excited because I had seen Cree Summer, who was brown and beautiful, but she played my favorite character. I mean, me and the girl next door would argue over who was going to be Susie because she was the only brown girl in Rugrats and we wanted to replay Rugrats, but I wanted to be Susie and she did too. We would argue, so my mind was blown. And I remember running upstairs, up the basement steps, through the kitchen, up through the hallway, up to my mom's room, didn't knock, bust in there, and she's like, "What you want?" And I'm just like, "I want to be Cree Summer." And she was like, "Girl, what? Who is that?" And I said, the girl that do Susie Carmichael. I want to be Susie Carmichael. And she was like, "Girl, you ain't about to be no damn Susie Carmichael." She's like, "What? A voice actor? An actor? No, you not doing that." And that was it. And I told you, she sent me downstairs and that was it. I was 6. And I always felt connected. You know what I'm saying? Like I always wanted to do it. That never changed. I just knew that I couldn't tell anybody because they would say that. And every now and then I might feel confident enough to say I want to do cartoons, and they would look at me and say, "Well, what is that?" So my environment at the time was really not supportive, but it doesn't matter because that interest, that passion, like I remember that moment so clearly. And I hope Cree Summer hears this because she told a little girl from Detroit that this is real. And I'm a little emotional because it's true. But anyway, that's my story. That is my background. And that is why I know for a fact, that somehow, some way, I am going to get my voice in front of the children that need it the most. And because that's my passion, I know that universe is going to open up these doors, and I'm just waiting. Like, remember I said in episode 1 that it's not really my job to get caught up in the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Like, my job is to create. My job is to put the intention out there. My job is to try. Of course, I know that nothing's gonna fall into my lap. I know that I have to do the work. I know that I have to, shape the molding, which is what this podcast is. And I'm doing it. I'm taking my steps. I'm applying. I'm doing auditions. I'm establishing an online presence. I'm trying to get my, I'm doing what I can, with what I got. And I am so happy about it because I am starting at 0, and I'm aware that there are people with agents and, support, money, and connections, and good for them. I'm excited for them. But it's like, I know that my lane, my energy is where it's at, you know? So I'm not really worried about it because I'm doing my best and the universe rewards effort. And I'm here. I'm in the room and I'm not going anywhere. I don't care if it takes me 26 more years to get into this industry. I would do it gladly because it was cartoons, it was animation that saved my life. And because I know where I'm from, there are kids just like me. There are 6-year-olds just like me. You know? Now, back then it was cable. Now that we're in this new digital age with streaming, now it's Netflix and Hulu. So that's where I'm headed. That's where I'm going. You know? So I'm ready. I'm down for any challenge. And I am here. I am in the room. Jessica Lauren Kelley is in the room. And I'm hungry. All right, that is it. That's the show today. I won't post anything at the end just because you all got me really raw. I just teared up and everything. But that's the show today. And thank you for listening. That was healing for me. So I'm grateful for your ears. And I ask that you all please follow me on Twitter at JLK_VOR, Jessica Lauren Kelley, Voice of Reason. Instagram, same thing, JLKVOR on Insta. And yeah, that's it. Have a great week. You are listening to Jessica Lauren Kelley, Voice of Reason podcast. Thank you.